Dear student, previous class I discussed about the depression of freezing point, elevation of boiling point, azeotropic mixture, and some problem related to the depression of freezing point and elevation of boiling point. Now I will discuss about the osmosis. What is osmosis? Suppose I will take a container and it is divided into two parts by a semi-permeable membrane. This is your semi-permeable membrane. This semi-permeable membrane is one type of membrane which allows the solvent particle, not the solute particle. Suppose in this part I will take solution. In this part suppose I will take solvent. Here solute plus solvent is present. Here only solvent is present. If you think about the volume of solvent, then in this part the volume of solvent is more as compared to the volume of solvent present in this part. So there is a spontaneous flow of the solvent molecule from this side to this side. That process is called osmosis. So I can write the phenomenon of spontaneous flow of solvent molecule from pure solvent to solution, from pure solvent to the solution is called osmosis. Next I will discuss about the type of osmosis. There are two types of osmosis. Number one is your endo-osmosis. Number two is your exo-osmosis. First I will discuss about the endo-osmosis. In endo-osmosis there is a movement of liquid molecule takes place from outside to inside. Then such type of osmosis is called endo-osmosis. So I can write, if the movement of liquid molecules takes place from outside to inside, then the osmosis is called endo-osmosis. Example of endo-osmosis is dry grapes soaked in water. Next I will discuss about the exo-osmosis. In exo-osmosis there is a movement of liquid molecule takes place from inside to outside. So I can write, if the movement of liquid molecules takes place from inside to outside, then the osmosis is called exo-osmosis. Example of exo-osmosis is fresh grapes in a concentrated sugar solution or salt solution. Next I will discuss about the reverse osmosis. It is generally applicable in aquaguard. Then what is reverse osmosis? Generally we know that the solvent molecule flow from this side to this side through the semi-permeable membrane. If I will apply high pressure on the solution side, then the solvent molecule flow from solution to pure solvent side. This process is the reverse of the osmosis, so it is called reverse osmosis. When the solvent molecule flows spontaneously from solvent side to solution side, then a pressure is created on the solution side which stop the spontaneous flow of the solvent molecule. This pressure is called osmotic pressure. Now I can write what is the reverse osmosis. If a pressure larger than osmotic pressure is applied to the solution side, that means this side, then the solvent molecule flow out of the solution through the semi-permeable membrane. In this way, the direction of osmosis is reversed, and the process is called reverse osmosis. The examples of reverse osmosis is AquaGuard based upon reverse osmosis. Now I will discuss about the difference between diffusion and osmosis. What is diffusion and what is osmosis? Diffusion takes place directly. It do not need the semi-permeable membrane. But osmosis need the semi-permeable membrane. This is the main difference. Diffusion occurs directly. It do not need the semi-permeable membrane, but osmosis need the semi-permeable membrane. Diffusion generally takes place from flow of the molecules from high concentration to low concentration. But in osmosis, there is the flow of solvent molecule from low concentration to high concentration. Here both solute and solvent molecule take part, but here only solvent molecule can take part. Diffusion possible in both liquid and gaseous substance. But remember, osmosis only possible in solution. Diffusion cannot be stopped by applying external pressure, But remember, osmosis can be stopped by external pressure. These are the difference between diffusion and osmosis. Next I will explain about the fourth colligative property, that is your osmotic pressure. In osmosis, generally the solvent molecule flow from solvent side to solution side. Suppose I will take low concentrated solution on this side, and in this side suppose I will take high concentrated solution. Then what will happen? The solvent molecule flow from low concentration to high concentration through the semi-permeable membrane. The spontaneous flow of solvent molecule from this side to this side can be stopped by applying the pressure. This extra pressure is called osmotic pressure. So I can write the flow of solvent molecule into solution may be stopped by the application of pressure on the solution side. This extra pressure, which must be applied to a solution to stop the spontaneous flow of solvent molecule through the semi permeable membrane is known as osmotic pressure. Next I will discuss about the different laws of osmotic pressure. At first I will discuss about the Boyle-Van't law. According to this law, if the concentration of the solution increases, then the osmotic pressure also increases at constant temperature for a dilute solution. So I can write the statement of Boyle-Van't law: at constant temperature, the osmotic pressure of a dilute solution is directly proportional to the concentration of the solution. Now I will explain the explanation of Boyle-Van't law. If pi equal to osmotic pressure of the solution of concentration C at constant temperature T, then according to this law I can write pi proportional to C at constant T. Imply that I can write pi equal to K into C, where K equal to constant. Again we know that C is equal to N by V. Here N is the number of mole, V is the volume of the solution. For 1 mole N is equal to 1. Therefore, I can write C equal to 1 by V. Now put the value of C here. Then I can write pi equal to K by V. That means I can write pi is inversely proportional to the volume. From this relation, I can also give another statement of Boyle-Van't-Hoff law. According to this relation, the statement of Boyle-Van't-Hoff law is at constant temperature, the osmotic pressure of a dilute solution is inversely proportional to the volume of the solution. Next, I will explain about the another law of osmotic pressure, that is your Charles-Van't-Hoff law. According to this law, if the concentration of the solution is constant, then the osmotic pressure direct proportional to the temperature. So I can write the statement of Charles-Van't-Hoff law like this: at constant concentration, the osmotic pressure of the dilute solution is directly proportional to the absolute temperature. Now I will explain the explanation of Charles-Van't-Hoff law. If pi equal to osmotic pressure of a dilute solution having temperature T at constant concentration C, then according to this law I can write pi proportional to T at constant C. Imply that I can write pi is equal to K into T, where K equal to constant. Imply that I can write pi by T equal to K. From this relation, I can also give another statement for Charles-Van't-Hoff law. The another statement for Charles-Van't-Hoff law is at constant concentration, the ratio of osmotic pressure and temperature for a dilute solution remain constant. Next, I will explain about the Van't-Hoff theory for dilution. According to Boyle-Van't-Hoff law, I can write pi proportional to C at constant T. Suppose this is your 1. Similarly, I can write according to Charles-Van't-Hoff law, I can write pi proportional to T at constant C. Suppose this is your 2. From 1 and 2, I can write pi proportional to Ct, imply that pi is equal to R Ct, where R equal to gas constant. We know that C equal to N by V. Now put the value of C here. Then I can write pi equal to R into N by V into T. Then I can write pi V equal to nRT. From this relation, it is clear that the osmotic pressure depends upon the number of mole of solute, but do not depend upon the nature of solute. So osmotic pressure is a colligative property. Next, I will explain about the determination of molecular mass from osmotic pressure. we know that pi v equal to nRT, implies that pi v equal to W by molecular mass into RT, where n is the number of mole equal to weight, that is your W divided by molecular mass, that is your m. Imply that I can write m equal to W by pi v into RT. Remember some important modified expression of colligative properties of the substance undergoing associations or dissociations. First colligative property is your relative lowering in vapor pressure. Generally we know that P0 minus Ps divided by P0 equal to H2, but the modified expression is your P0 minus Ps divided by P0 equal to IH2. Here I equal to Ventov factor. Similarly, elevation of boiling point, that is given by del Tb equal to Kb into molality, but the modified expression is your del Tb equal to I Kb into molality. Similarly, I can write depression of freezing point, that is denoted by del Tf. We generally know that del Tf equal to Kf into m, but the modified expression is your del Tf equal to I Kf into m. Similarly, I can write osmotic pressure pi equal to CRT, but the modified expression is your pi equal to ICRT. These are the modified expression of colligative property. Now I will solve a problem related to the osmotic pressure. The osmotic pressure of a solution containing 7 gram of a protein per 100 ml of solution is 25 mm Hg at 37 degrees centigrade. Calculate the molar mass of protein. We know that m equal to WRT divided by pi v. Here pi, that is your osmotic pressure, equal to 25 mm Hg. We know that the value of R equal to 0.082 liter into atm into Kelvin inverse mole inverse. Since the value of R is written in terms of atm, so it is bound to convert the mmHg into atm. That means pi equal to 25 mmHg equal to 25 divided by 760 atm. The volume of the solution is your 100 ml, so I can write here V equal to 100 ml. Look at that. The value of R is written in liter, so it is bound to convert the ml into liter. That means I can write V equal to 100 ml equal to 0.1 liter. The value of W is equal to 7 gram. The value of T is your 37 degrees centigrade, so I can write T equal to 37 degrees centigrade. Since the value of R is written in terms of Kelvin inverse, so it is bound to convert the degree centigrade into Kelvin. That means T equal to 37 degree centigrade equal to 310 Kelvin. Now put the value of pi, R, V, W, T in this equation. So I can write m equal to 7 gram into into 0.082 liter into atm into Kelvin inverse into mole inverse into 310 Kelvin divided by 25 divided by 760 atm into 0.1 liter. By solving, I can write molecular mass M equal to 54093.76 gram. Our aim to find out the molar mass of the protein. So I can write molar mass of protein equal to 54093.76 gram. This is the problem related to the osmotic pressure. Finally, this is all about your solution chapter.